Hey guys, welcome to the Centre Bounce. In today's video, we're talking captains and our final trades for the week. Stay tuned. Joe, we've just come off two best 18 weeks. Another week of best 22. How are you feeling about things that's coming up? How's your team looking, mate?
It's looking like what it's looking, to be honest.
Okay,
It looks sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. It's a bit up and down, but hey, I can see that we're formulating a plan, we're formulating a structure, some more boosts, some more trades, 9 trades. Oh, I'm gonna miss those boosts in the future. I'm gonna wish so bad. I wish I still had a boost, but we're going balls to the wall, and I'm absolutely loving it. I love pulling the trigger and being aggressive and trying to take control of my destiny and to fix this team. And I reckon with these trades, I'm gonna move up in the world. I can feel it.
Yeah, I know with my team, there is one S. Berry who's just been named who bane of my existence. Should have got rid of him last week, chucked him in the bin. Yeah, he's been named, and it's kind of changed my plans a little bit. I don't know if he's going to make much money. He might even just be the sub. Might not even play. But yeah, it's messed things around a little bit for me and
Strawberry.
opened up some, I really opened up some other options. So we'll kind of go through. I think with right now I've got 2 or 3. And maybe we'll let the people in the comments decide, hey, Big J, this looks better. This doesn't look better. Because my trade decisions at the moment haven't been great anyway.
Oh, I personally don't think so, but hey, well, you want to leave it up to the viewers to help you, that's up to you. But for me, I've been flip-flopping more than a Zach Fisher out of water.
Oh, me too.
More than a fish out of water. So this is what the team looks like. I know you guys have been talking to me a lot, and I love the engagement with you guys. Your messages and your comments on my team review video was absolutely incredible. Please keep it up. I absolutely love messaging you guys and talking with you, trying to express my thoughts, which sometimes don't come out as articulate as I might like them to. And I know one of you guys, I was talking with you saying, hey, who should you pick for your upgrade, Steele or Miller? And I say, Steele. It's going to be Steele. Well, I've gone Miller because I'm just flip-flopping like I don't know. All right. The brain marinates in incredible ways. And for me, these are the trades for this week. I've used another boost, as I sort of alluded right from the start. Jack Billings, I'm sick and tired of this guy. I can't believe I got baited into him. He's one good game. Shame on me. Dempsey comes in, who I wanted from the beginning. I wanted him, and I didn't have him. So I'm paying up for him, and I still think it is worth it. Harley Reid, I've gone early on him. It might be a little bit harsh on the poor gentleman, but hey, if someone like Sexton, for example, isn't named, then Sexton's the one who comes out of the side, obviously. But at this stage of the game, I'm thinking Harley Reid's not giving me great scoring, and I just want that money. I can't see him making me 100K at this rate. I just want the money in order to take some funds with me into next week, and in order to facilitate a James Jordan up to a Tuke Miller, who are coming off the bye. I think he's going to have a decent run. He's got North Melbourne twice. He's got West Coast twice this year, which is really cool. And he scored a really good score. I know I was talking about how much Jack Steele was flying, and he looks to be at his career best. But if I just move us out of the way, Big J, for a second, Tuke Miller came off the bye, right? Now, I'm not talking about how he's flying compared to what Jack Steele is, right? But he hasn't been particularly incredible, and he's still scoring quite decently. So I know in the game against the Bulldogs, they were killed out of the midfield. He had 10 tackles with 30 disposals. He gave away 4 free kicks. 4 free kicks for a 115. And the week before, he gave away 3 free kicks and finished on a 137. So I just think that despite Tuke Miller not particularly playing the best, he still scored a 115 compared to a Jack Steele, who appears to be flying and at career best form, and he's only scoring 120. So for me, I just feel like when you compare that head to head, Tuke Miller at his best would likely score a lot more than a 120, whereas Jack Steele at his best is only scoring 120. Is Jack Steele going to be at his best every single week? Most likely, probably, because the guy is an absolute superstar. But Tuke Miller, I just feel, has got a greater ceiling for me. And as a result, at this point now, I'm locking it in, I'm going to go with Tuke Miller as my upgrade this week in the midfield. Yes, he's a little bit more expensive than a Jack Steele, and I'm going to take some money with me into next week. I think next week's going to be a double downgrade week, but we'll talk about that later in the future. And then I'll have even more money to potentially, hopefully, double upgrade the following week, which would be round 6. And that's when upgrade time starts. And we're going to start getting in my boy, Zach Merritt. I got to get him in sooner rather than later. He's my boy. He's my captain. And he's going to be in my side. So that's where my plans are at this stage.
Definitely like Tuke Miller this year. I've said it before, just before their bye. Looks so good. He shaved his head, shaved his body, streamlined Tuke Miller. It's the Tuke Miller of old. Last year had the goatee, had the hair going on, and obviously the scoring wasn't there. Looking at your team, you've obviously put a lot of money into points on field. Are you worried about your bench in the defense at the moment, or kind of they're going to be back in a few weeks, hopefully?
Yeah, I mean, I think these guys are going to be back. I think Zach Reed's best 22, and when he's good to go, he'll come back in. He was running at training today and everything, so we're just taking a precautionary approach with him. His hamstrings aren't stuffed. He's running, he's training, but we are being cautious with him given his history. And I think Hall will be back, and I think Hall will play. He's a good player. Injured thumb was his problem, so I'm not too concerned. I think they will both play. It's not like they're completely dead, like a Caulfield or a Gibkiss, for example. Plus, I also consider Buku Kamis a defensive rookie for myself. Obviously, if you guys saw in our DPP videos, Buku Kamis is playing 100% defense, and he's locked in for defensive DPP. So he's like another defensive rookie that I can get, and I do like the looks of Warner next week. If he plays this week, then I'm happy. Then I could potentially get Warner in next week, and I think he will score really well for me. And I know some people are looking to potentially get like a Lockie Whitfield here. I could possibly do that as well, but I just want to fill out my midfield sooner rather than later. And as soon as DPP comes around, some of these boys are going to be back there. And I'd love to have Roberts on field. And I'd love to replace Roberts' position here with another Uber premium. The quicker I can fill out my midfield with the top liners, then the quicker the more points I expect to get on a regular basis. I think the difference between a midfield rookie and a midfield premium, I think, is bigger than Roberts and a Lockie Whitfield, for example. So that's sort of what I'm hoping to do. Try and get this midfield filled ASAP, and then have Roberts and McKercher just carry me here on the bench because they're scoring very well.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, makes sense, right? Like, fill out that stuff. Obviously, Merritt probably won't go down too much in price or potentially stay around the mark, but there are quite a few guys, maybe an Oliver, things like that will drop in price. So jump on those when you can, I guess.
Because I am hoping that because we're playing Port this week, and I'm almost certain that Zach Merritt's going to cop the Drew tag. I have no doubt in my mind, and I don't see why Port wouldn't do that. He's on fire. King has dubbed him the best captain in the comp right now. He's on fire, and I think Hinkley would be an absolute moron if he didn't send Willem Drew to tag Zach Merritt, which could potentially give us a lower score than usual. Could see him drop in price even more, and then hopefully Zach Merritt becomes my first upgrade here in the midfield, and then I'll be rocking with 6. I feel like Jack Steele could be one as well that we can get in the future, hopefully. If he has a tougher run in a few weeks' time, then he could be a 7th one. And then Clayton Oliver, if he continues to drop in price, could be the 8th one. So sort of have an idea of what my midfield would look like. And I'm really keen to see it come to fruition.
Oh, there you go. let's check out my team. And I've got quite a few different options this week. We're going to go through a couple, maybe not let the fans decide, but definitely kind of talk about it a little bit. I've got a lot of money in the bank. Obviously, it didn't do exactly what I was hoping to do. My original team, I'm kind of forced with Ollie Wines, even though he was out of my side. My original idea for the team was Wines out, Berry out, James Jordan out, right? And then I can bring in, we've talked about Dempsey. We've talked about him being an option. Darcy, I think, is another must-have for this week. Oh, no, he's a forward.
You're going to have to open up a spot. Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. Darcy being a forward. Cool. I've got a bit of money left, so I can basically get anyone in. I think originally I had spoke about Jack Steele maybe being an option and having some money left over to do a straight upgrade for Harley Reid the following week. So let's have a quick look at that. So optimize. That was an option there, Joe. I think I was most likely going to go Butters and then the Heaney swing and then Cadman and Field. So it doesn't look too bad, right? It's not too bad. Got a lot of money for an upgrade next week. We can do some interesting things. I was playing around with the team before and I looked at potentially just getting rid of guys and shoring up for the rest of the season, which is something I've been worried about. I look at the money that's on field and I just can't make much money. I'm just kind of behind a little bit. So I think the idea I had was Reed, Hoare, and Wines out, who, thank God Wines is injured. I don't like injuries, but it means I can do things with my team. So he was out, and then I was going to go. Now, would you pick Dempsey over Draper, or
Darcy.
would you keep Draper? So, would you pick over Darcy? Would you pick Darcy or would you pick Dempsey?
Both.
I can't afford, but I can't get both. That's the problem. That's the problem I have.
I think if you fade Darcy, you're really hoping he gets bevoed, like bevoed to oblivion, and that he calls Rory Lobb back and says, "Hey, Sam Darcy, I want to kill my career as a coach, so I'm going to drop you and bring back Rory Lobb."
Well, there you go. So
that's the only way.
Yeah. So what I was thinking then was maybe we'll go Darcy just for some extra money.
Sure.
And so Darcy, I've got 2 defender spots left, 775k. Whitfield in there, and then grab Draper from Freo. So this was the idea for the team. Let me know down in the comments, guys, which ones you guys reckon. So with this idea, I've got 2 guys on my bench who are making money. Covered that out. Backline 4 primos, 2 mid prices. So very, very happy with that. Midfield is obviously taking a bit of a blow. Flanders is going to be in the forward line. But it does give me potentially some upgrade options there. So it is a bit tricky. Means everyone's playing, which is always good. But I'm kind of feeling a little bit like maybe I don't have enough premiums. What do you reckon? I'm just moving cash around at that point. That's kind of what it feels like a little bit.
I mean, you can't think Hogan is a premium, Powell's a premium. So it's 13 premiums, 13 premium scores this week, which is obviously really good. If I look at my team, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 as well. So we're both in the same boat, essentially, with 13 premiums. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are in a similar situation. The better ones are probably at the 14 now. And unfortunately, we're down to 31 trades each, mate. And it's going to be 40 trades coming in clutch for us.
Yes, very true. And looking at it, like in this situation, Jordan would probably have to go next week, potentially Reed going as well. So maybe that's a primo out of both of those, maybe not. Plus some money and then getting in like a Conway or something. So it's a little bit diluted. The backline looks good. The rest doesn't look too good, but it has shored up a bit of cash gen with a lot of guys going up. I did I did have a bit of a crazy thought though, Joe. You want to see my crazy
yeah.
thought? Yeah.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. So I have two more teams. Just like let you guys know. So this is number 2. Number 1, Jordan Berry Wines out. Number 2, Reed Hall Wines out. This is number 3. Number 3 is a bit crazy. Number 3, we have, I think we end up keeping Berry. Reed out. Jordan out. Wines out. I don't know if you can get what I'm going here, Joe. I brought in the guy who I probably should have picked last week in my team, and that is Harry Mackay in my side. It's a bit exciting. And I could do something very, very interesting here. I didn't actually think about this until right now. So
live brainstorm. Let's go.
Let's have a bit of a think. So I've got 504k. Forget Dempsey. Dempsey, like I just can't get Dempsey with this team at the moment.
GG.
But I can get rid of. Let me see if I can make this work. Oh, all right, Barry, you're gone. I hate you. You're gone. I'm sorry. And then we get Wines out, and then Jordan goes. And then this week, I'm potentially looking at Sam Darcy.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Mackay.
Mm-hmm.
And could I go a bit cheeky and put like a Tuke Miller in? What do you reckon?
Very cool. Very, very cool.
So how would that make me look for premiums wise? Not too bad.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
1 sec.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Hopefully, at least top 3 in the forward line. I really want Hogan to bounce back. Flanders goes to the forward line, so I've got Reed or Cadman or someone else there to finish off the side. It doesn't look too bad. It just means I don't have a lot of money left. That's probably the big thing. So I think that's number 3 for me, guys. So 3 options there. We can make some crazy trades, do some things. Let me know down in the comments, is it very important to get rid of these 2? The problem with Hoare, and George alluded to it in his trades video this week, Hoare's been traded straight out for Stephen May. So when Hoare's fit, is he reliant on May or someone else to come back? That's probably the big question for me at the moment. So, let me know. That's 3 options, guys. Maybe Joe will crack into who's going to be our captains for this week.
Yep, exactly. So we'll go through the games now. Adelaide kickstarting gather round against Melbourne right off the bat.
We can do our tips. We can do our tips as well.
We'll do our tips as well. Very, very fine observation by you, good sir. Who do you reckon's winning this game? Adelaide or Melbourne? I feel like it's hard to go past Melbourne with the way that they're playing at the moment. They just won there last week against Port in a game which they probably shouldn't have won, and yet they managed to get the chocolates. Meanwhile, Adelaide struggling to really get their mojo going. So I'm actually going to lean. I'm going to lean towards Melbourne by maybe 21.
Yeah, I've picked Melbourne for this week. I think Adelaide's in a lot of trouble, and potentially they can fix some things going on at the moment. But I just think there's a lot of issues there, and they've brought in Berry, they've brought in a few other players. They're trying to move pieces around and get things working, whereas Melbourne seems to be a well-oiled machine. They've got Stephen May and Lever, I think, back as well to cover a lot of their tall, defensive issues. And, Melbourne, I think, for me. Even though it's at Adelaide. Adelaide Oval, especially Port Adelaide, right? These was 2 teams a couple of years ago that was you play them at home, you just lose. Now it's not the case anymore, so it's a bit scary.
Yeah. In terms of the captaincy options, I don't know anyone who owns any Adelaide players that are likely to be captain material.
No.
Maybe a Dawson could turn things around, for example, hopefully. You'd have the biggest balls in the world if you're going to captain Dawson after his slow start to the year. For Melbourne, it just seems like a VC on Max Gawn appears to be a no-brainer. And with the form that he's in, He's absolutely killing it. I mean, if we pull up DFS and look at the matchups, actually they do pretty well against Ruckman. Sort of get lower scores. Adelaide are pretty good against that, but mids tend to go bananas. So if you've got a Petrarca or an Oliver, then they're the types who are likely to pop off against the Adelaide Crows. So that's pretty good. Meanwhile, Melbourne, what do Melbourne struggle against? They give up. All right, so if Dawson's playing as a general, if Dawson's playing a half back and taking kicks and then alternating, then he might be okay, but I wouldn't go there personally. I think the only real option for most people is a Max Gorn as a VC, but as we can see here, they're pretty good at nullifying rucks.
Yeah, it is Riley O'Brien, though. They don't have Phil Thorpe, so maybe that changes things a little bit.
True.
But it's tough. We've spoken about Thursday kind of VCs never working. It's probably a similar thing at the moment today.
Yep. Next game, your boys going to Norwood to play against Brisbane.
We're getting slapped. It's going
to happen. How's Sheasel as an option? Let's see. Brisbane. How does Sheasel do against designated kickers?
Yeah. It really just
he's a gun.
Hipwood. Like, if Hipwood keeps kicking behinds, then fantastic for us. Sheasel loses because Sheasel's going to take all the kick-outs. So in that sense, maybe. But, yeah, it's Brisbane tip, probably no one from this game.
Yeah. Wait, Brisbane. How do they do against inside mids? Oh, how the hell is LDU supposed to do worse? Now, I reckon LDU could bounce back strongly here.
Maybe true.
All right. Port v Dons, 8th versus 9th. It's always a close affair. Recently, both games last year were decided by under a kick. Yep. Port at home, having played a really good opposition in Melbourne, they let themselves down with some inefficiency against Melbourne. They probably should have won that game, but they didn't. They're probably really stinging after that loss. And, of course, they're running into my mob to have a strong bounce back. So, based on all of that, look, logic just tells you it's got to be Port Adelaide, right?
Yeah, and I think so as well. There is a chance. Like, no one picked Essendon against Sydney, and they won. So there is a definite chance, hey, like, it could happen. Port Adelaide has had some trouble with their midfield at the moment. No Wines in there. Maybe that affects a few things. Their forward line's not firing. You know, Essendon's defense is a little bit better this week. So there could be some ups and downs there. I think I just looked at the tipping and Port Adelaide 90% at the moment. So you kind of have to go with the curve. Zach Butters, definite captain option. I think that's what I'm looking to do. I don't think anyone's really relevant from Essendon. Maybe a Merritt inside mid potentially, but this would have to be like without William Drew dominating. So
correct.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, Port Adelaide tend to do really well against mids.
We saw Rotini last week. Came out and scored a 140.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's very hard to go past Butters as a VC. Another one who could do really well against us. I know it doesn't show it here, but Dan Houston could be a really good option. Dan Houston, we are without a doubt Dan Houston's favorite team to play against, and he's playing at Adelaide Oval, which is his favorite ground to play at. So I feel like Houston in his last 3 is averaging over 130 against us. And if it's another close game and he kicks a match winner, then, you know, that VC option could score a 160. So it's possible that Dan Houston could be a really good option as well if you own him, but it's hard to go past Butters at this stage. Get to this one. I mean, it's pretty obvious who we're tipping. And I think it's pretty obvious who the captaincy option is from these teams. I feel like it's got to be Heaney or Grundy.
Yeah, Grundy. It's an interesting matchup because they got BJ Williams, who just leaks points. I don't know if Grundy's the best matchup for him though, because Grundy seems to get bullied out a little bit by the stronger players, and I think BJ Williams may do a little bit of that. But you can't go past Heaney, right? Like. He's just going to slap him, Joe.
Even if it's playing forward,
Yeah.
Even if Taylor Adams is back and he's playing forward, they score. As you can see, it's
score a lot. 98% on the tips as well. So, so it's maybe a couple of West Coast fans looking for like a pod. Is there pod
Shannon,
tipping? Is that such a thing, pod tipping?
It is possible. If you're so far behind the pack, you sometimes just pick against to try and climb yourself back. But Shannon Humphreys or West Coast Eagles rule: stop tipping your team. You're not going to beat the Swans this week. Freo v Carlton. Look, I think it's going to be a strong performance by Carlton.
Yeah.
I think Freo is going to crash back down to earth, especially in the midfield. And I think Carlton's front half pressure game is going to cause them to be unable to play a chip mark sort of style to take the sting out of the game. I think Carlton's forward line's just so potent at the moment. Yeah, I'm going to go Carlton to win this game, I think, pretty comfortably. And the duo of Mackay and Kerno are going to wreak absolute havoc there. So I'm going to go with Carlton for this tape.
Yeah, I think so as well. We saw how dominant Hewitt was against LDU, and I think Sarong's going to take that slapping this week. So there's a potential for a Harry Mackay if you're really crazy going VC, but I just don't know who people have as loophole because Essendon's played early. Melbourne's played early. Like most of us have Livingston. So your captains from, like your vice captains from one of the first 3 games. That's just the way it's working out at the moment. So if you've got someone else, fantastic. But yeah, I don't know if you're going to captain Harry Mackay this week against potentially Draper, potentially a few other players, I think.
Luke Ryan, if they keep missing a lot,
he doesn't play key defender. He never plays key defender. Like that's kind of
no. If Carlton misses a lot and Freo kick in,
no, definitely, yeah, definitely.
Doggies against the Cats. This is going to be a ripping game. This is a genuine coin flip.
Yeah, and that's why it's played oval.
I'm going to go Cats. The way the Cats have been playing has been very impressive. So I'm going to lean Geelong.
Okay. I have picked the Bulldogs. I think Geelong is going to be fine. I think the Bulldogs, though, are going to come out and they're going to do some fun things. They're going to bounce back a little bit. And I think just the experience is just going to take them home. Geelong's definitely been run a lot by the young brigade. And I think the Bulldogs, like Jamara, is going to kick a few. It's going to be an interesting game, though.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting.
Good watch on a Saturday night.
Yeah, for sure. Out of Geelong, really no one that you would own apart from a Tom Stewart.
Would you pick Bont or English? What's the stats say? Who's the favoured positions?
Geelong tend to concede more for rucks.
And inside mids.
And inside mids as well. So it's possible.
Maybe Bont.
He's picked for a reason, right?
Yeah, no, that's very true.
So that could work. And the Bulldogs tend to concede to rucks, but no one owns a Geelong ruckman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they give up a lot of points to Tom Stewart.
Yeah. And like if they've got kicking straight, I think that's probably a big thing. I think Jamara and stuff have been kicking a little bit better. The stats are a bit skewed, but yeah, if Tom Stewart's taking every kick out plus intercepts, it's a lot of points.
You know Tom Stewart.
Super pod pick.
Mate, you know Tom Stewart is just going to be lining up on Vandermeer or on Riley West, someone that he can just disrespect, and then he'll just take intercepts and kick-ins. Plus, he loves to play Adelaide Oval. It's narrow ground. It works for him. It really does work for him. Tom Stewart is going to be if you own Tom Stewart, you're going to lap it up this week. You really are. Gold Coast v Giants. I'm going Giants. I'm tipping Giants to win every game this year, almost, I think.
Yeah. They look very, very good. It's going to be a really tough game to work out who is going to be like your player, though. So like, if you're going to pick a player, I think you don't pick someone from this game. So I think they're going to be somewhat even, but I think Giants are just going to slap them.
I know it's going to be tough, but the way they're playing and the way Tom Green is playing, if I get cold feet on Heaney, I can see myself just slapping the captaincy on Tom Green and still having him come through for me because he's such a contested beast and a tackling gun as well. I can still see him scoring really well even against the Suns. So I just have that much faith in Tom Green, the killing machine. So yeah, I think if you're going to pick anyone from that game, it would be Tom Green, I think.
I like it, Joe. I like it.
Thank you. Tigers v Saints. I'm going to definitely go with the Saints here. They're going to bounce back strongly. They're going to get Max King back as well. So I anticipate a strong bounce back from St Kilda.
Yeah, I think there's a train of thought at the moment that there are a few players coming back from the Tigers. I know Dusty Martin's going to be there. I think there's a few others that are potentially going to be there too. But then you have to factor in all of the good players who just got injured. Like last week was really brutal for them and probably cemented them being in the bottom 8 this year. Like even more than what they were, Joe. Like Bolter's out. Baker's just been suspended. I think there's another one. Was there another one that's Lynch just been injured? So cool. Where's the goals coming from? They're just not.
Lefau. Mikelti Lefau.
He's the only one. I don't think it's going to happen. I think, yeah. I think it's going to be
Seth Campbell.
It's going to be a tough win. It's going to be a tough win.
Jack Steele, very fine captaincy option this week.
Yeah.
Round it out with the Finn McGuinness tag on Dacos.
Oh. Well, I think the beauty of it is that by this time, everyone should have their captaincy score already. Like Dacos obviously is going to get tagged. I think maybe a Sicily is a captaincy option if you have no one else, but this is not the captaincy game. There's so many beautiful captaincy options that by here, just no. I'm pretty sure Collingwood's going to win though. It's going to be a tough game. Potentially the Hawks bounce back. They've had some freak games last year. Like I think they beat Brisbane. They maybe beat the Dogs or GWS as well, some of the other teams. So they can win games. But they have
beat
to
Collingwood last year at the MCG.
They have to be 100% on their game to make it happen. And I just don't know if they're there at the moment. They looked a bit lost last week. So picking Collingwood to win, probably no captaincy options though.
Yep, I agree on that front. So it looks like we have tipped the exact same, except for the Dogs and Cats.
Yeah. I picked the Dogs, you picked the Cats.
And that, guys, was our video talking about our final trades, or final trades for me, 3 options for him, as well as...
There's a lot of things I can do this week, and last week wasn't great, so I'm like, I got to make it work, Joe.
Yeah, sure, whatever, mate. So yeah, getting our viewers to do the work for you. That's very unlike us, mate. We do the hard work.
Role reversal, like, mate, shoes on the other foot this week. Live streams on tomorrow, guys. We live stream Mondays at 7:30, Thursdays as the team sheets drop from 5:30 onwards. Obviously, another short week. I'm not sure what next week's holding for us, but Monday game, Thursday game, a lot of content that's just come out over the last day or so as well. So jump into all of that. Should be pretty good.
100%, guys. Make sure you hit that like. If you like what you had here today, a subscription as well. Greatly help the growth of our channel. And hit that notification bell to not miss out on any of the videos and live streams that we've got going on. Because here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so that you don't have to.
But unless you pick my team. That you can pick my team this week, so that's fine.
Shut up. See you guys.